All right, guys, welcome back to another day. Sorry, we're a little bit late today. We've been having some technical difficulties. As you can still see, our camera is still not up and working. That is very interesting. I might have to suspend today, but I don't think that you guys need to see me in order to be able to appreciate the properties that are on the market today. So hopefully technology catches up with us if it decides to, and then you'll be able to see me. But with that being said, today is Wednesday. There are 8 properties out on the market today. Let's take a quick look. If you have this is the first time you're joining us, we are always going to use for our calculator the latest and greatest information given to us by the Federal Reserve, which in this case is the interest rate for purchasing a home in the United States. It's right now we're sitting at a 6.22. Okay, that's the 30-year mortgage on average in the United States right now. Tomorrow we have new numbers, so hopefully those numbers are going down. That'll be nice for us. Let's take a quick look. The camera's back. So hey guys, all right, let's take a quick look at the market here in South Florida. In South Florida, I mean Palm Beach County, Broward County, Miami-Dade County. All right, in the Tri-County area, we have had 2,051 new homes hit the market in the last 7 days, and we've had 2,200 homes actually see a price decrease. And this is important for you guys to know, just for the reason that we're seeing more homeowners call their agents and say, hey, I know we just listed, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, but it's time to lower the price, right? So either the setters are having that conversation with them, or the real estate agents are calling the setters and saying like, listen, man, the house is not moving. People are coming to see it. They're buying other houses within a couple of weeks of seeing yours. It's not that they're not qualified, it's that your price is too high, right? And so we're starting to see that sentiment in the market, and in the same reason, we're starting to see homeowners, right, that were thinking about selling that maybe are not selling anymore. About 2,000 homes, although that is pretty much average for this time. All right, well, with that being said, let's take a quick look at how many houses hit the market. I already saw today. I took a sneak peek. It's 8 houses that we're going to be looking at. Okay, if you're following us on YouTube Shorts, that meter isn't up there, but if you're following us on YouTube, the horizontal one, you're going to see that the 8 count ticker is up there. As we analyze them, we'll see if they're a go or if we got to pass on them, or something that we could it's worthwhile looking further into. So as always, I like to sort by square foot, and that's the way that we're going to start looking at them. First house on the list, Miami-Dade County. All right, price point $1.18 million. So we'll put that right here, 1180,123. All right, taxes 8866, square feet 2132. And it's important that we know the square feet, just so we know if it, if it's something that like it's gonna grab our attention. All right, guys. Do they tell us how much they're paying in rent? And so they're telling us it's a duplex, right? And they're saying that they're collecting $7,700 in rent per month. Let's put that here in the meantime, right? And that pretty much tells them that this might not look like a really good deal. Let's look at the guts of this deal, see if we can make something work. But first, let's take a look at the pictures. Okay, there's that picture, guys. Let's see what the other pictures look like. Okay, I like the color of the floors. Okay, not bad. All right, that's it. Okay, interesting. It almost looks like a single family home, right? So they say exceptional investment opportunity. This fully remodeled corner duplex features a separate, independent apartment offering excellent flexibility and a strong income potential. Ideally located in a highly desirable area, property boasts ample parking, making it convenient for multiple tenants. Whether you're looking, so is it a triplex? So they're saying it's a duplex that is operating as a triplex, right? So they're saying that there's a 1-1 renting at $1,600, that there's a 3-2 renting at $3,600, and then there's another 1-1 renting at $2,500. All in all for $7,700. Let's make sure that their math makes sense. 1,600, 3,600, 2,500. Yeah, that gives us 77. Now the interesting part here, guys, is we want to make sure, could this actually be a legal triplex, or, right, at the time they're going to go sell. Okay, so we do know it's multifamily, great, but at how many units does, yeah, so this is actually coded, right, Miami-Dade would say that this house is legally set for a duplex, not a triplex. So you're probably gonna have two separate water meters, or at least two, hopefully, separate electric meters, right? But then there's gonna be something sticky there when you have to come to the electric bill for the other unit, because they're gonna say like, hey, well, he used more electricity than me, I wasn't home, whatever. It's just gonna make it harder for you as a property manager, right? If you're gonna be wearing that hat. So all in all, 2,000 square feet, 2,100 square feet. They're putting a 3.2 and 2.11s in there. They're saying that they're getting $2,500 for that one 1.1, right? And that they're getting $1,600 for the other one. I wonder why the other one is so low. The rent is so low, right? And here, mind you guys, each one of these is on a month-to-month lease. These are really dangerous for you as investors, especially if this is your first time going into a property. You want to make sure that you have long-term leases going in there, because it gives you some sort of stability while you get your bearings about like being a first-time investor and having to deal with tenants. You don't want to go in there, right, thinking that you're going to be making perhaps a certain cash flow, and then all of a sudden you don't have any tenants and you're paying everything. But in this case, guys, right, I think that they might be overinflating. Also, month-to-month rents tend to be more expensive. So this isn't really a good indicator, perhaps, of what you're going to be able to get in this area for long-term rents. So, that being the case, DSCR, guys, by the way, it means debt service coverage ratio, how much would the rents cover the actual mortgage. And you would need to put a 25% down payment on this house. And at that point, it would barely cover the mortgage, right? At a 1.10, and that's why it's in the orange, that's where lenders start being like, okay, I'll lend you money on this house. It makes enough money. But again, they're going to want to see long-term leases. They're not going to want to see this month-to-month stuff. Otherwise, what they will do, and they'll do it anyway, but they'll pull an appraisal on the rents and tell you like, hey, yeah, I know you're telling me $1,600 a rent, or a month for the 1.1. But I was able to find in my research that the long-term rents actually go for $1,300. And so, like, I'm not going to give you the $1,600 valuation that you're looking for. So anyway, guys, with that being said, this property is a no. We're going to go ahead. Let's put that down on our tracker here. This property is a no. Hard pass. And let's get rid of this property here from our list. And we're on to our next property, which is still in Miami-Dade County. So a little bit more expensive, $1.398 million. Okay, they're paying $14,669 a year in taxes. Square feet is a little bit bigger, 2,860. And do they tell us what they're getting in rent? Okay, they're not getting much. Flood Zone X, okay, but they're saying that they're getting $4,800 in total. If that's the case, guys, this is a hard pass. Do you guys really want to take a look at the pictures? They have 51 pictures in here. That's fantastic. It looks pretty. It's a pretty house. It's a pretty duplex. Doesn't matter how pretty it is, guys. If you can't, it's a huge backyard. You might be able to build an ADU on that backyard. Make this deal worth a little bit more. Let's look at the guts of the deal. So they're saying that there's a 2.1 that's being rented out. They have 2.1s. They have two bedroom, 1 bath units. The first one's rented out $2,350 and the other one's rented out $2,450. Okay, that puts this property deep in the red. Okay, I don't even really care what they say here. Those rents look like they're pretty much spot on for what they should be getting. Okay, the thing is that they're probably in a good area, right? That's one of the things that we don't go over here. I don't want to be blamed about steering people to a certain area, but it's up to you guys. Go check out the area or the property, right? I'm showing you guys the address here. Go check out the property and you could decide for yourself if it's worth investing in that area or not. But I mean, the numbers just don't make sense, right? So hard pass for us. Not even worth looking at the other statistics. Okay. The next property that we have up is Miami-Dade County again. This one is a more reasonable price, $789,999. Okay, they're paying $8,000 a year in taxes. It is 2106 square feet. They tell us the rents right off the bat. They say it's a duplex. They tell us that the rents are $5,500 as a whole. Okay, so these are slightly better numbers, right? So guys, as you can see, it's right on the line between what I consider like, something worth looking at on the 1% rule. It's a 0.7 of the 1% rule, and it's a 1.15 on the DSCR scale, meaning that it'll just about cover your mortgage, and you could probably get financing for this with a 25% down payment, investor loan. Okay, let's take a look at the pictures. Looks like pretty new construction here. Okay, terrazzo floors. I love terrazzo floors. All right. Interesting layout. It almost looks like a single family home that got split up. All right, let's look at the guts of the deal. Turnkey duplex investment on 8,800 square foot lot, fully upgraded. Larger unit boasts 3 bedrooms, can convert to 4. Spacious living, laundry room, while the second unit offers open concept living, yada, 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 yada. So they're saying that both units there's a 3-1 and there's a 2-1. The 3-1's rented at $3,000 and the 2-1's rented at $2,500. Okay. Let's make sure that this is a duplex. Okay. It's zone multifamily, and yep, it's a duplex. All right, guys. And the reason that I do that is just because a lot of times listing agents will put stuff up and it won't make sense. So guys, I mean, this is literally like, it's on the line about to be a red kind of a deal. But again, this property is 0 days on market. So that's the thing about us. We try to find these properties as soon as they come on the market. Otherwise, we could lose out on them. However, more than likely, this guy will have a price drop in his future. What I would do is I would reach out now. I would give him an offer, right? And then just let him know, like, hey, listen, man, like, I'm willing to work with you, but, you need to act now before the market gets worse and you have even more competition, right? But just so you guys know, this deal for me, there's better deals out there, and we've covered them in the last weeks. There's properties that hit like the 0.9 on the 1% rule. On the DSCR, they're in the green, like 1.2, 1.25. So definitely take a look at those videos so you can see those properties. But I mean, this property would need to be a lot cheaper for me. It would need to be like maybe like $130,000 cheaper, right? So like at $130,000 cheaper, this would be at $759 or $659. Yeah, you see. Yeah, that would make more sense for me, guys. Okay, that would make a little bit more sense for me. Just because at the same time, taxes are probably going to go up, or definitely going to go up if you buy it at this price. So yeah, this is a maybe, and it's just by the skin of its teeth, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll put that there on our screen, that this is a maybe. Let's go on to the next one. Our next property is, it's in Broward County now, and 649, 1, 2, 3. Taxes, they're paying $697.8 in taxes. Square feet, 1793. All right. It's a duplex. They don't tell us how much they're getting in rent. Let's take a look at pictures. All right, standard looking duplex from like the 70s or 80s probably. I feel like we've seen this property before. Yeah, let's look at the guts of the deal. Did they relist this property, take it off the market, or relist it? Yeah, they probably did. Let's see here. Property history. Yeah, they listed this property before on the 24th. We were able to see it then. Then they took it off the market and then they put it back on the market. Same price. Wonder what happened. All right, no matter. We'll still look at the guts of the deal since you guys are here today, and so are we. Okay, so they did tell us it's 900 square feet each side of the house. So just about 1,800 square feet, right? 2 2s. They're saying that one of the 2 2s is $1,800 a month, and the other 2 2, they're getting $2,200 a month. They're on month to month. So again, that should be a red flag for us, right? Making sure that we could justify those rents and that we're going to be able to get tenants long term for that amount of money. All right. So if one side's renting at 1,800 and the other one is renting at 2,200, your cash flow or your rental revenue is $4,000 a month. That would just about cover your mortgage. That would be an exact coverage of your mortgage, okay, if you bought it at that price. But it wouldn't make even close to making sense, this property, right? There's a couple questions, like if the other one is also, it's a 2-2. If the other 2-2, why don't you rent the other 2-2 at $2,200, right? At that point, it makes a little bit more sense. So, I mean, guys, this is a property that I would, it's in Oakland Park. On the inside, it's really nice. 2-2s, dude, you should be getting, I think, a little bit more money than that. I think in Oakland Park, it depends on the neighborhood. You got to go take a look at that. But guys, if you could get 2,350, right around here, then it could be a potentially solid deal, right? Or like a deal worth looking into. And if you could lower the price here, if you could, tell this guy like, dude, look, you have these on month to month. A tenant leaves and you're going to be, negative cash flow on this property. Why don't you just sell it to me at 550? Let's call it a deal, right? Then the property starting to look a whole lot better. Again, this guy's just hit the market, but being that real estate agent that calls and consistently keeps calling and saying like, hey, this is our deal. Hey, this is our deal, is going to get you guys into a door, because believe me, he's going to stay on the market for a while. All right. With that being said, I would say like this property, I think just because it could have been, in my opinion, listed a little bit better with a little bit more information. They don't say again why this is 1,800 and this is 2,200. It's worth a second look. It's worth somebody going into, like Zillow or Realtor.com and seeing the rents in the area and seeing if you could say like, hey, I can increase the rents here real easy. Okay. So that is a maybe for us. Let's look at our next property. Okay, we're in Palm Beach. It's our first deal in Palm Beach today. All right, oops, right here. And we're at $1.25 million. Taxes are $14,592 in taxes. How big is the property? 3,696 square feet. Okay, do they tell us how much? It's a fourplex, and they don't tell us how much the rents are. Let's take a look at the pictures. Okay, two separate buildings. AC looks well kept. Oh, apart from that fence, looks terrible. Yikes. Okay. Okay. Corner lot. It's a big property. Okay. Let's take a look at the guts of this deal. I'm excited for this one. Rare multifamily opportunity, new roofs, over $100,000 in gross annual revenue. Rare opportunity, 2 duplexes, concrete block construction, located on 0.31 acres, corner lot, directly off Melaleuca. Each unit has two bedrooms and 1 bath and is approximately 924 square feet. Every unit has their own washer and dryer along with their own central AC, yada, 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 yada. Okay. New roofs, only 3 months old, assumable FHA mortgage at 2.9%, approximately $535,000 remaining. Okay. How much are you making in cash flow, my bro? Okay, so he's telling us right here. He's getting, and they're all month-to-month leases. My goodness. This is dangerous, guys. You got to watch out for this stuff. I think it's going to be the chapter or the description of this video. Be careful for month-to-month deals. Okay, guys, this property's in the red for us, right? $8,400 is not even close to being a 1% rule, right? The question is, how much would he actually lease them if they were a long-term lease? If they were a long-term lease, he would probably be getting, I don't know, $2,000 or let's say $1,900 for each one. And if that's the case, this deal is like much more in the red. Whoops, 1900, right? Or what happens if like you are, right? This property right now would be a 0.61 on the 1% rule. It wouldn't even cover your mortgage on this. You wouldn't be able to get an investor loan for this either. So, but let's say rents are at 2100. You can substantiate that. Guys, what happens if just one of them stops paying rent? Dude, you're coming up for 20% of that mortgage that month if just one person leaves, plus turnover costs. So if two people leave, right, like it's just looking bad. So this property is a hard no for us. You know, it's going to be, and the reason that like I don't say like, hey, like it'll be easy like the other property to like make this property a little bit better, is just because the price would need to be drastically different for the property to make sense. Okay. Next property brings us to Miami Beach. All right. This property is at $870,000. Taxes, they say that they're paying $11,723 in taxes. Welcome to Miami Beach. Let's see, living area, 2,952 square feet. It's a fourplex, okay? And they're telling us right off the bat that they're getting $64.50 a month in revenue, right? Well, this property is starting to make a little bit of sense. Let's take a look at the pictures. Okay. It's got box ACs. Okay, little laundry stuff, making a little bit of income there. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 electric meters. All right, so maybe one for the laundry room. Is it a quad? Perhaps it's a quad. Let's take a look. Oh, they did tell us it's a fourplex. Okay, it's a fourplex. But how many meters were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, all right. So it's 4 for the units and probably 1 for the laundry. All right. Let's look at the guts of this deal. Location, location, location. Yeah, we know. You're in Miami Beach. You don't have to rub it in. So they're saying that they're getting $1,950 for the 2-1. They're getting $1,600 for the 1-1, $1,600 for the other one, and $1,600 for the last one, right? Which puts it at $6,750, which is what they told us. Dang. Okay. This is interesting because it's almost 3,000 square feet. It's Miami Beach. All right, guys, look at this. This is the median rent for 1-1s in Miami Beach or in Miami-Dade County. $1,600. He's like right on the nose of the median rent for the 1-1s. And then for the 2-1 is $2,300, and he's below that for this rental. So if you could fix these properties up just a little bit, the question is, could you make this property cash flow? Could you make this 2-1? I mean, mind you, you're in Miami Beach, $2,350. Can you make the 2-1s, you know, $1,750? Right? Because if that's the case, then this property is really close to being a great property to go look at, right? So, guys, I would say for this property, it's definitely a maybe. I would say that the first thing you want to do, again, jump on Facebook Marketplace, jump on Realtor.com, ask your real estate agent to give you the median, or just to give you the rents, right? The closed rents, meaning the rents that were already taken up, right? For 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and for 1-bedroom, 1 baths in this area, because there's definitely other duplexes like this or quads or multifamily houses in this area. And you want to know what those are currently renting for. Because again, does he have it on a month-to-month? No, they're long-term leased, okay? And sometimes what happens, let's see how long this guy's been the owner. Property history. Yeah, you see, he puts it at one price and he just rents it at that price. Puts it at one price, drops the price just a little bit, and rents it at that price. when did he buy this? He bought this in 2018. Okay. So he bought this, yeah, 8 years ago, and he's getting out of the game. Maybe he's tired of dealing with it, right? And if he's tired of dealing with it, that's a great opportunity for us to jump in. Maybe he doesn't think that he could get more rent. Maybe he's just very happy with the rent that he's getting. We wouldn't be happy with that rent. We would want to increase it. And if you could, then do so, right? Fix the units up a little bit, make people want to be actually, want to give you that money, trade you that money for a pretty apartment, and then everybody wins. So with that being said, I would say that this is another property that we want to go out there and take a look at. All right, we're down to our second to last property. It's in Miami-Dade County. It is a duplex, and they want $949,000 for it. Basically $950,000 for it. Right now, they're paying an astonishing $17,901 in taxes. Yikes. Square feet, 3,282 square feet. And they don't tell us how much the rents are, but they do tell us it's a duplex. I mean, they got to be getting some good rent for this to make sense, any kind of sense. Corner lot, contemporary build. You still have the popcorn ceilings, dated. So, clean, well maintained, you could tell. Interesting. Probably takes this giant space in the back here, but okay. Interesting layout. I mean, Jesus Christ. So very meticulously maintained, I would say, but like this property is going to need a do-over if you want to have anybody be able to rent, want to rent it from you. The amount of money that they're asking, in my opinion, is a lot. Whoops, sorry. Let's go here. Okay, strategically positioned in a prime corner lot, this expansive multifamily presents a compelling yada 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 yada. Bro, just get to it. Get to the numbers. All right, it's a 3-2. They don't tell us how much that rents out for, but it's in is it Miami? Yeah, Miami. So the median 3-2 in Miami rents out right now at $3,000 a month. And then 3-1-1s, and we said that was what, 1,600? All right, guys. So it's not a terrible property, right? If you could get these rents. Now that being said, you saw how much work would be needed for you to actually, this is median. Median rents means also probably median finishes, right? The finishes need to be like somewhat normal. These are very below normal. So these are not the rents you're going to be getting. You would need to spend money on each one of these, right? In order to make them competitive with the other product that's out there. And so in order to be offering this guy $949, he needs to understand that this deal barely makes sense this way. It makes sense, barely, but the amount of money that you're going to need to put in here for it to continue to make sense, it needs to come out of somebody's pocket. And he's probably going to sit on this property again. I would probably offer this guy $800K for this property, right? At $800K, it makes sense. It allows you to put in, find somebody to come in this property and put another, $150,000 worth of work, and then you're back up to the $950, and you're still cash flowing with a 25% down payment investor loan. You would still be cash flowing on day one with a 20% down payment. But this would not make sense for me as an FHA loan kind of a property, and it would not make sense for me as a 10% down payment with the idea of I'm going to invest, right? So with that being said, this is, oh man, yeah, this is a maybe. You got to call this guy and stay on top of his back. See if you could get those rents a little bit lower. All right. So we are down to our last property, guys. And brings us back to Broward County. Broward County, very reasonable price, $550. They're saying that they're paying $8,384 a year in taxes. Square feet, 2,007 square feet. It's a duplex, but they don't tell us how much you're getting in rents. Let's take a look at the pictures. It's a nice duplex. I love the concrete circular driveway. Oh wow. I think that they photoshopped it and that's why they put it like this. What it could look like, guys. What it could look like, right? Which is crazy. Why wouldn't you invest the, $1,000 to make it look like that for real? Okay, guys. So is that the airport? It's right off the airport. It's got this huge backyard, this huge back lot. It does. Is there a driveway back here? There's a driveway back here, guys. This property looks really good. Yeah. Okay. Guys, I'm interested. I think we made it to the end. We found something really nice. Let's look at the guts of this deal. Gotta find out why it's not going straight to the listing, but okay. Rare duplex opportunity on 13,423 square foot oversized lot in Pompano Beach. One unit is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, and the other one is a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Both units featuring their own washer and dry room. Expansive backyard creates additional value and potential use for options. Yes. New roof 2026. Strong option for investors seeking a sizable lot, functional unit mix, and long-term upside. Everything he said is accurate. Let's start with that. Let's start with the other fact, and this is an opportunity because this agent says that they're getting the same, whoever this owner is probably tired of it. He rented out the 3-bedroom, 1-bath, the same amount of money that he rented out the 2-bedroom, 1-bath. 1837. Let's put that up here. 1837 and 1837. So at this point, this property probably wouldn't make sense. It would cover your mortgage almost exactly. Okay. But here's where this is the interesting part, guys. Look how nice you could really make this entrance, right? And then here's the homework for this. All right. Yes, there's a, what do you call it? Like these containers here in the backyard. That's got to be that's a runway and a half. If I've ever seen a runway, that's a runway. Right. Then there's the railroad tracks, which is not really a good sign. But the question is this area back here drivable, right? Because if it's drivable, then that means you can make another property right in this area, right? Another income producing property. So you could buy this land with this property, and then you could put something else back here. We're living in the age of the ADU, the accessory dwelling unit, or the additional dwelling unit, which basically it's a law in the state of Florida, and it's almost throughout the entire country. I think Trump announced it like the other day, where governments are being forced because there's a lack of inventory, believe it or not, throughout the country. In Miami-Dade, it's a little bit of a different story, but this is Pompano Beach, so this might be accurate for this area, where the government is incentivizing people to build, and so they're being a lot more lax on the rules. But since this is already zoned for multifamily, there probably wouldn't be a problem with you putting another house here. So if you could get the, for the $550, if you get the land for free, then all you got to do is build, right? The question is, guys, this is a question of like, how much could these 3 ones and these 2 ones really rent for? And if you build something on the backyard, could it be like 2 stories and then you end up with like, like more units? That is the question. That is the question, because I think for the 3 ones, right? If Pompano Beach is anything like Broward County, 3 ones are renting out at $21.90 on average. And then the 2 ones are $19.60. If you could increase rents, right? Then this deal is starting to make sense. And then if you get that property in the backyard, all you got to do is build more property. Then there you go. Or maybe you could just turn this into a quad. I mean, it's pretty big. It's 2,000 square feet. You could at least turn it into a triplex maybe, right? So this is another property I would say, like, just because of the land, the amount of land, it's worth doing the diligence. It's worth doing the homework of going into Facebook Marketplace, Realtor.com, or calling your real estate agent and saying like, hey, I want the rents around this area. I want to know what it would look like. And then, if you're interested in building an ADU, check out the videos by this guy named Thatch Nguyen. Like, amazing, right? Like, it gives you a good idea. And then there's people that build ADUs all the time. You just got to call the builder and try to get a quote and get an idea of what it would cost you to build back there. And then there's a lot of people that would lend you to actually be able to build on that. So with that being said, guys, this is another property that I would say it's close, right? So out of the 8 properties, out of the 7 properties that we're going to analyze, sorry, the 8 that we analyzed, we've analyzed all 8 of them. Sorry, the technical difficulties that I had before erased my initial number there. But with that being said, guys, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you're actually going to go look at any of these properties. I know I am for at least one. If you guys want to know which one that is, put it in the comments, and then I'll make a video when I go out and take a look at it. All right, with that being said, guys, have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you tomorrow.